What's up, it's me, D.W.C, and today we're back with another MLB The Show 20 video, and today I had a pretty unique idea, I think anyway. I thought it would be pretty fun and interesting to go into franchise mode and kind of find out what a shortened MLB season would look like. So we're going to simulate up until mid-August, and to the point where each team gets 120 games played, because that's the point that I figured was a reasonable point to start with the shortening of a season, because they were talking about it being started mid to late May. So by that time, each team would have around 50 to 60 games played. So I'm going to give them 120 because I know the MLB season's 160, but they can easily make up some games playing double headers and then also putting in some of the missed games towards the end of the schedule if they decided to do that. So I decided 120 would be a good number. We're going to take over a non-playoff team, so it has no impact. The easiest way to do that would be to just take over the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to turn off GM contracts, not that it matters. We are going to turn everything on auto manage. And then once I get into the regular season, I'm going to turn off critical situations once I start simulating. I'm going to simulate up to draft day, do a brief update partway through the season, and then we'll simulate up to August 11th, look at who made the playoff race in our version of reality, and look at who won what awards, and then we are going to take this over into the postseason mode in MLB The Show, and we're going to put all our teams into the postseason, simulate that, and see who comes out as our World Series champion. So I'm going to get into simulating, and then I'll be right back. Quickly, I forgot to mention, I am turning trade frequency all the way down because we want to end up with our starting rosters, or as close to that as possible, because that's what we're going to be using in the postseason mode, is the rosters we have right now. So we're turning trade frequency all the way down to try and keep them as close to the starting point as we possibly can. Alright, so we just simulated the MLB draft. We are about 60 games into the regular season, so almost exactly halfway of where we're going to go. And we're going to quickly check out the standings, and then we'll also check league leaders and see who is leading which category. So in the American League East, we have the Yankees on top. In the Central, we have the White Sox on top. Pretty surprising there that they're ahead of the Twins and the Indians. The West, we have the most hated team in baseball, the Houston Astros. And then the wild card, we have the Twins and the Rays in the two wild card positions, with the Angels half a game back and the Athletics 4.5 games back. In the National League, we have the Phillies in first place in the East, the Cubs in first in the Central, the Dodgers in first by far in the West, and we have the Nationals and Pirates in the two wild card positions. The Reds are 2.5 games back of a wild card position, the Braves are 4 games back, and the Padres and Rockies are both 5 games back of a wild card position. Okay, so here we are, August 11th. We're about 120 games in for every team. We're going to check the standings. We're going to see who won each award. We'll actually start with the awards and leave the suspense of the standings for last. So we're going to look at our league leaders. Luis Arias finished the year on top of the league in batting average with 354. Encarnacion surprisingly had a really good hitting year with 318, and so did Miguel Sano with 314. Tim Anderson led the league in hits, followed by Luis Arias and Yordan Alvarez. Tim Anderson also had the most doubles, followed by Bo Bichette. Mark Canha and Anthony Santander had the most triples, followed by David Fletcher, Gio Urshela, Luis Robert, Aaron Judge, Ramon Laureano, and Matt Chapman all tied with 5. Matt Olson had the most home runs with 37, followed by George Springer. George Springer had the most RBI, followed by teammate Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez led the league in runs, followed by teammate Jose Altuve. So it looks like the Astros had a very strong year, despite all the hate that they endured. Mondesi led the league in stolen bases, followed by D. Gordon. Yordan Alvarez had the most walks, followed by Marcus Semien and Joey Gallo. On base percentage went to Luis Arias, followed by Yordan Alvarez. OPS went to George Springer, followed by Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez. Justin Verlander had the most wins, followed by Jose Barrios and Chris Sale. Ty Buttrey ended up with the most saves, followed by Matt Barnes and Nick Anderson. Charlie Morton led the AL in ERA with 217, followed by Jose Barrios. Your strikeouts leader was Garrett Cole with 209, followed by Chris Sale with 195. Pitching WAR leaders were Garrett Cole and Chris Sale. Batting WAR leader was Mike Trout, followed by Aaron Judge, George Springer, and Anthony Rendon. I think overall I'm going to give the AL MVP to Yordan Alvarez and the AL Cy Young to Garrett Cole. Moving on to the National League. Batting average leaders, we have Nick Markakis and Adam Eaton. Hits leaders, we have Adam Eaton and Jan Segura. Hits leaders, we have Adam Eaton and Gene Segura. Doubles leaders, we have Trey Turner, followed by Ahmed Rosario. Triples leaders, we have Tim LaCastro still, followed by Ronald Torreyes and Josh Rojas. Home run leaders, we still have Rhys Hoskins with 35, followed by Arenado with 31, and Goldschmidt with 31. RBI leaders was Rhys Hoskins, followed by Max Muncy. Christian Yelich had the most runs. Stolen base leader in the NL was Jonathan Villar, followed by Trey Turner. Juan Soto had the most walks. On base percentage was tied with Ian Happ and Juan Soto. OPS goes to Christian Yelich, followed by Bryce Harper. Your wins leader in the NL was Walker Buehler, followed by Mike Soroka, John Lester, Noah Syndergaard, David Price, Clayton Kershaw, and Max Scherzer, all with 13. Dan Winkler had the most saves along with Pedro Baez and Keone Kela. Walker Buehler led the league in ERA with a 1.73 ERA, followed by teammate Clayton Kershaw. Max Scherzer had the most strikeouts with 195, followed by teammate Patrick Corbin with 184. Pitching WAR leader was Jacob deGrom, followed by Patrick Corbin and Walker Buehler. And your batting WAR leader was Christian Yelich, followed by Ronald Acuna Jr. So I think I'm going to have to give the NL MVP to Christian Yelich, and the NL Cy Young would go to Walker Buehler. Now we're going to go look at our team leaders, see who made the playoffs, and then get into a postseason simulation with all those teams. So, in the American League East, we have the Tampa Bay Rays winning the league. In the Central, we have the White Sox winning, followed by the Twins. And in the West, we have the Astros winning the West. Our two wildcard teams are the Twins and the Angels in the American League. In the National League, the defending World Series champion Nationals won the East. The Cubs won the NL Central. The Dodgers won the National League West by far. And our two wildcard teams in the National League both come from the East, and they are the Phillies and the Mets. I'll be back in a second with our World Series bracket. Okay, so here we have our postseason bracket. We have the Angels and Twins in the wild card, Mets and Phillies in the wild card, Cubs facing the Nationals, Rays facing the White Sox, and then we have the Astros and the Dodgers awaiting opponents. Okay, so here we have our schedule. We are going to sim through the wild card game. So the Mets get eliminated, and the Angels also get eliminated. So we have the Twins facing the Astros and the Phillies facing the Dodgers. We're going to simulate ahead a couple days to get into the next round of the postseason. We have both series in the National League are tied at 1 apiece. We have the Twins leading the Astros 2-0, and the other series in the American League is also tied at 1 apiece. Simulating ahead now, we have Tampa beating the White Sox 3-2, Minnesota sweeping the Astros, which a lot of people would actually love to see. So it's Tampa versus Minnesota in the ALCS. We have Washington beating the Cubs 3-2 in the DS in the National League. and the Dodgers beating the Phillies 3-1. So it's Washington versus LA in the NLCS. We're going to simulate ahead a couple days and see where we are. Minnesota is up 2-0 against Tampa, and Washington is up 1-0 against the Dodgers so far. Simulating ahead a few more days. We have the Twins up 3-2 over Tampa, and Washington up 3-1 over the Dodgers. So Tampa actually comes back to beat Minnesota 4-3. Washington beats the stacked Dodgers team 4-2 to advance to the World Series for the second year in a row. Going game by game now, if possible, for the World Series. We have no games yet. Tampa takes the first game. Tampa takes the second game. I'm actually going to flip over to one of these teams to make it easier. So, Tampa is up 2-0. Going to Washington. Tampa takes the third game. And the Rays sweep the Nationals in the World Series. Your 2020 World Series champions in a season shortened by COVID. We have the Tampa Bay Rays. Congratulations, Tampa. You just won my shortened season simulation. Enjoy it. But that does it for this video. I just thought it'd be a fun little experiment to do. I'll be back very soon with some more MLB The Show 20 content. See you then.